Welcome back, Focus Learners, to another explainer. So let's dive right in, because today we are tackling a deeply frustrating, incredibly painful, and honestly, entirely relatable contradiction that pretty much all of us face. You know the feeling, right? You've got these massive goals, incredible dreams, huge ambitions, but when it actually comes time to sit down and execute, you feel like you have absolutely zero energy to even start. It's like your brain just shuts down. Well, we're going to look at the real science of exactly why this happens, and more importantly, how you can actually trick your brain into taking action.
I mean, think about it. How often do you plan to, say, write that book or completely overhaul your diet or learn some entirely new skill, only to end up just sitting on the couch, endlessly scrolling through your phone, or binge watching just one more episode? It feels terrible. You want to achieve these incredible things, but taking that very first step just feels impossibly heavy. And naturally, we jump to the worst conclusion. We tell ourselves we're just flawed. We lack drive.
So that brings us to section 1, the illusion of laziness and the myth of the lazy personality.
Which really comes down to your brain on the defensive, the biology of procrastination. You see, this constant delay makes us completely mislabel ourselves. We think, man, I'm just a lazy person. I have zero ambition. But I'm here to tell you, and this is a massive paradigm shift, so stick with me here, that this self-diagnosis is a complete illusion. To understand what's actually happening, we have to look at your biology. Whenever something seems exceptionally difficult, your brain literally goes into defense mode. It views towering tasks like writing a whole book or totally changing how you eat the exact same way our ancient ancestors viewed running from a saber-toothed tiger. It sees it as an exhausting threat, so it naturally seeks out easier, more pleasurable alternatives just to protect you. Laziness is not a character flaw. It's a programmed biological survival mechanism designed by evolution to avoid unnecessary effort. But here's the brilliant news. Once you understand that laziness is really just a biological habit, a sort of defense mechanism, you realize it's something you can totally hack. You can actually bypass the whole defense system. Let's get into how we do that. Step 1, start small. Shrink the goal.
Listen, because large overarching goals really intimidate your brain and trigger that defensive procrastination we were just talking about, we have to kind of trick the mind. And we do this by dividing the massive task into incredibly tiny, completely unintimidating little parts. Think about it. If your goal is to read more books, sitting down to devour 50 pages all at once sounds exhausting. Your brain immediately hits the brakes. But what if your goal is just to read one single page a day? Suddenly, that mental resistance completely vanishes. One page is so frictionless, so unbelievably easy that your brain doesn't even bother putting up its defenses. By starting this incredibly small, you allow your mind to slowly get accustomed to the new habit until it just feels entirely natural.
Imagine you're climbing a huge mountain. You would literally never look at the peak and expect to reach the top in one single massive jump, right? That's impossible. And trying to do so would honestly just leave you paralyzed at the base. No, you conquer the mountain one calculated step at a time. The real key takeaway here is that continuous progress, no matter how remarkably small it seems at first, generates extraordinary results over time. We aren't looking for immediate perfection. We are looking for continuous movement.
Moving on to step 2, create easy routines. Automate your actions.
Okay, so now that we've shrunk the goal down to bypass the brain's alarm system, we have to address a massive, fatal flaw that so many ambitious people make, and that is relying purely on motivation to get things done. Honestly, willpower is entirely unreliable. It oscillates wildly. I mean, some days you wake up ready to conquer the world, and other days you have absolutely nothing in the tank. If you rely solely on willpower, sooner or later you're going to fail. Routine, on the other hand, is dependable. A solid routine transforms an action into an automatic habit. Instead of counting on some magical sudden burst of motivation, you need to design your environment. Set things up to facilitate the process and make the right choice the absolute easiest choice. Let's look at some really actionable examples of this environmental design. Say you want to build that reading habit. Well, don't leave your book tucked away on a shelf in some other room. Leave it right next to your bed or right on the breakfast table. Or if you want to drink more water, fill a glass at night and put it right on your nightstand. That way, when you wake up, it's already there waiting for you. You've made the good habit the most natural, effortless option available, way before your brain even has a chance to wake up and start objecting. Which brings us to step 3, the 2-minute rule, and overcoming the obstacle of starting. So we've shrunk the goal, we've designed our environment, but sometimes you still feel completely stuck. Why is that?
Well, because the absolute biggest obstacle to any real change isn't the total effort the task requires. The biggest obstacle is simply the act of giving that very first push just to get into motion. 2 minutes. That's your magic number. The core rule here is incredibly simple, yet highly, highly effective. Just commit to doing a task for exactly 2 minutes. That's it. If you want to organize your whole house, tell your brain, look, I'm only going to organize this one specific corner for 2 minutes. If you want to work out, just do a single stretch. I know, it sounds almost too small to matter, but trust me, it is exactly enough to get you moving.
It's kind of like pushing a stalled car. At the very beginning, when the car is completely dead, it requires a tremendous amount of strength and strain just to budge it an inch. But the second it gains even a little bit of momentum, the physics completely change. It starts rolling almost on its own. Once you actually start a task for those 2 initial minutes, continuing just becomes completely automatic. Now, here is a super vital detail if you want to lock in this new momentum. You have to reward yourself immediately after taking action. Once you finish your 2 minutes or you read that one single page, celebrate it. Seriously, listen to your absolute favorite song, enjoy a really great cup of coffee, or simply allow yourself a brief, completely guilt-free rest. By doing this, you are actively training your mind to associate pleasure and positive feelings with the action. It basically ensures your brain naturally wants to repeat the whole process again tomorrow. Let's talk about the flame of progress, fueling your massive goals. As we bring the pieces of this explainer together, I really want to reassure you about the reality of this journey. The people you admire, the ones who are out there achieving massive goals, they weren't born perfect. They started small. And yeah, they failed along the way. Failing is a completely normal, actually essential part of the path. Think of your massive dreams as starting out as a very weak, fragile little flame. Every tiny 2-minute action, every single page read, every glass of water drank, that is the essential fuel. At first, sure, the fire is small, but if you continuously feed it with these tiny, frictionless actions, those actions compound. Eventually, that tiny, weak flame grows into a massive, completely unstoppable bonfire.
Okay, let's lock all of this in. Here is your definitive brain hacking framework. Number 1, shrink the goal and do easy tasks so your brain doesn't trigger its ancient defense mechanisms. Number 2, create easy routines and design your environment so you never have to rely on flimsy willpower. And number 3, when you're really struggling to start, just use the 2-minute rule to get the car rolling and build that initial crucial momentum.
I want to leave you with this final, incredibly important question. What can you do today to keep this flame burning? Please don't wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is an illusion, just like the whole concept of a lazy personality. Your goals are out there waiting, and your brain is absolutely ready to be hacked. Take your very first, tiny 2-minute step right now. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.